Hello, everyone. Sorry about the lateness. Mr. Mo, we had to do our quarterly stock up at Sam's and Aldi's and with the boys. And can I tell you, yes, yes, there is booze because holy fazoli's talk about all the peopling and no of them, no Mo. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing all of the Modly Mod stuff. So don't forget, you guys, to put on live chat, not top chat, so you don't miss anything. And then welcome Cynthia, retired firefighter, Digger 420, T Underwood. Let's see, Tammy Bogard. I have questions about everything. Is Spirit Fleck, Janie J. Free Spirit Prepping and News, Fisher of Men. Welcome, welcome everyone. And Janie J, I hope I didn't miss you. If I did, sorry. Mr. Mo was driving very, very slowly uh, because we hadn't changed daylight savings time in the van. So he's like, "You've got an hour." And I was like, "No, I have 2 minutes." He was like, "Oh, daylight savings time is still a thing." And welcome, JWH78. For our first news story, we have, well, a cutie who did a really brave thing. Allegedly a cutie. A French hero gains Australian residency for confronting killer in deadly Sydney shopping mall attack. So, at least a little good came out of this, and I will show you. He's a whole lot attractive. I say we let him stay in Australia. Welcome, Terry D. So, a French construction worker, Damien Garot, was made an Australian permanent resident on Thursday as a reward for his heroism during the stabbing attack in Sydney shopping mall that left 6 victims, well, unalived and a dozen wounded. Garot was nicknamed Ballard Man on social media after the security footage showed the 31-year-old standing at the top of an escalator at the Westville Bondi Junction Mall on Saturday and warding off the knife-wielding Joel Kashi with a plastic barrier post. Kashi fled down the escalator and the people on Garot's floor were safe. Uh, Garot's temporary Australian work visa was due to expire in July until Prime Minister Anthony Albanese intervened with an invitation to settle in Australia. I mean, what a wonderful reward for saving people, but I'm sure he didn't think about that when he was doing it. He was just protecting people. And for all that is, bad in the world, there are still people that will put themselves in front of you for danger. I am sorry, Squid Pro Quo. I get it. I feel that in my soul. That might be my spirit animal right now. Exhaustion. Garot told I don't want info about the prime minister. Garot told Nine Network Television he was happy about the opportunity to stay in Australia, but felt mixed emotions. It was just unbelievable, he said, but he added, "How can I be also happy when many people and families are very sad for their loss?" Garot was also filmed brandishing a plastic chair as he ran toward the assailant behind Police Inspector Amy Scott. Garot, along with his fellow French national and work colleague Silas Despereaux, were with Scott when she she ended the rampage with a shooting. She was a police officer, she was armed, and she was able to put down the threat. Imagine if Mr. Garot had been able to carry. I know it's a sore subject in Australia, so I will simply say I am glad he used whatever he could to protect all the people that he could. Despero, like Garat, had chased Kachi and thrown a barrier post at the killer, but didn't appear on the footage posted on social media or broadcast news. French President Emmanuel Macron praised the pair's heroism. Quote, two of our compatriots behaved like true heroes. And since it's Macron and didn't marry their grandma. Just Just a little dig. I didn't say she was born a dude, okay? I'm not going full Candace Owens, but she is significantly older than him. Welcome, Welsh Lady Reads. Uh, Very great pride and recognition. Albanese told Garat through a news conference on Monday, "You are welcome to stay for as long as you like." Garat is someone Australia would welcome as a citizen, Albanese said, although it would be a loss for France. His lawyer, Belinda Robertson, said her client had been told the prime minister did not have power to grant citizenship. However, Garat was granted permanent residency on Thursday, she said. Albanese had also floated citizenship for a Pakistani security guard, Muhammad Taha, who was stabbed in the stomach when he confronted Kachi. Taha holds a temporary visa that is due to expire within weeks. Yes, we certainly will, Albanese told Radio 5 AA when he was asked if he would consider citizenship for Taha. Muhammad Taha, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but it, it's been a day. Confronted this guy, the perpetrator, Joel Kachi, on Saturday, and that shows extraordinary courage. That's the sort of courage we want to say thank you to, frankly. Taha said from his hospital bed that he believed he deserved, quote, recognition and consideration for citizenship. Taha also highlighted the work of other guards as well, saying they should be offered citizenship. Uh, the only male killed in Saturday's attack was a mall security guard, Pakistani refugee Faraz Tahir. Immigration and Citizenship Minister Andrew Giles did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Thursday. Westville Bondi Junction was open to public on Thursday for the first time since the mass stabbing, but shops remain closed for what is described as a community reflection day. Businesses in one of Australia's largest shopping malls will reopen Friday with higher security. The problem is that you can take away all the force multipliers. There are still perforators. You are going to simply change the instrumentality, in my opinion. And I y'all, I don't tell you what to think. Y'all are free to have different opinions, just, keep it nice. But you just change the instrumentality of the entire attack. You don't change what's in a person's heart, and I don't know how. I wish I had an easy answer on how to fix people's hearts. Believe me, I would. I would do it in a heartbeat, but I don't. These are just terribly sad times sometimes that we're living in. But within these sad moments, there are gentlemen like this gentleman who rushed in to protect people. There are security guards that rush in to confront. There are officers that rush in to protect. So even through darkness, there's a little bit of light. Light is never completely dimmed, and I like to remember that. Um, the deadly rampage was the first of 2 knife attacks by lone assailants over 3 days that have traumatized Sydney. A 16-year-old boy is in police custody after he allegedly perforated a Christian bishop and priest during a church service on Monday. Police allege the boy had religious or ideological motivation and attacked during the streamed service to cause intimidation. You think? I mean, I don't know what other emotion you are wanting to invoke when you attacked a holy man, during mass. I mean, call me crazy, but I kinda I gathered the subtext quite readily. Police are conducting major investigations into the shopping mall attack, the stabbings at the Christ the Good Shepherd Church, and the riot that occurred outside an Orthodox Assyrian service as people sought vengeance over the attack. The mall attack is not a criminal investigation, but police are gathering evidence to present to a coroner to investigate the circumstances of the death. 5 of those slain were women. The investigation into the riot made its first arrest late Wednesday when police took a 19-year-old man, Danny Mansour, from his Sydney home. Police allege Mansour, a barber, filmed himself kicking 2 police cars during the riot. What have we said over here at Moe's Corner? We do not write down our crimes. We do not text our crimes. We do not film our crimes and put them on the internet. These are simple rules. He did not enter pleas in court on Thursday to charges of rioting, causing a disturbance, destroying or damaging property during a public disorder incident. He faces a potential maximum sentence of 15 years in prison if convicted. Now, I could be very wrong, and someone from Australia is probably going to watch this on the replay, but I think the infamous serial killer, Ivan Milat, got what, 25 years? So you're telling me that 25 years, so 15 years because he was in a riot. And there's nothing about, what the sentencing guidelines might be for the young man who attacked a bishop. But this gentleman who might have been, he shouldn't have gone out. He shouldn't have been doing shenanigans. But as far as I know, he kicked 2 police cars, which is bad. Make him fill some potholes, but 15 years? Are you kidding me? I mean, look, I'm not Australian, so I don't know how things work there, but I'd be a little irritated. In other news, Colombia seems to have lost its daggone frickin' Looney Tunes mind. Now, normally, I do not cover the Mesopotamia. Everyone has really strong feelings, and I am not even halfway educated enough to give my hot take on this. But apparently, they've called in the 5-0. They are ready to clear this out because I guess they had a Chaz-like installation at Columbia. Colombia anti-Israel protest turns violent. Provocateur arrested for repeatedly hitting officer, cops say. So again, I don't care. I would much rather these people be on campuses out of the roadways for their safety and for ours. But they're not. They can do things peacefully. You can be insufferable and peaceful. That's my new tagline, CNN, don't steal it. Mostly peaceful, all insufferable. I'm just kidding. Mostly insufferable, some peace. A protester at Columbia University was arrested Wednesday night for repeatedly hitting and scratching an NYPD cop. According to law enforcement officials, at least 3 other people were detained as the ongoing anti-Israeli movement turned violent at the Ivy League university, cops and sources said Thursday. Christopher Briones, 30, allegedly got in the way of cops trying to arrest someone else on the Morningside Heights campus around 11:30 p.m. Wednesday and repeatedly exclaimed, "De-arrest." Law enforcement sources told the Post. He then struck and scratched the cop on the arm, causing cuts, the source said. Briones was charged with assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, obstructing governmental administration, authorities said. Jessica Knapp, or Knapp, but I'm going to go with Knapp, 35, was busted when cops spotted her waving a 15-foot pole and disobeyed orders to put it down, police said. You cannot have that object at a protest, a police spokesperson said, adding that Knapp was charged with resisting arrest and reckless endangerment. Miranda Levine, 26, was also charged with resisting arrest and obstructing governmental thank you, governmental administration during a protest, cops said. A minor was briefly taken into custody but then released to their guardian without being formally arrested and charged, according to the police. But are those parents going to get charged? Look, I want to see equal enforcement. If we have crossed this Rubicon and every single, random Joe Schmo can now be held accountable for their kids' stuff, malicious compliance. I want all parents held accountable until we see how dumb this is. Another group of protesters may have also been taken into custody early Thursday morning, footage circulating online showed. Why are you doing this to me? I'm just standing on the sidewalk. One person standing outside the campus gates at 116th Street and Broadway can be heard yelling at officers in a dramatic video shared by Status Coop News on X. Multiple people wearing Palestine the scarves. I don't know how you. Okay, thank you. Can you please? All right, that's just put them on my bed, please. Sorry, we're sorting out groceries. So they're wearing the solidarity scarves of peace, I guess, mostly insufferability. Were seen grabbed by the NYPD officers who appeared to be holding zip ties or other restraints, footage showed. First they waited, then they started whispering and pointing, then they come over and target some people and arrested them, a male witness told the Post. They tackled one to the ground. There were two guys and three girls, he added. The cops were aggressive. I don't know why. It took 20 cops to arrest four people. The reason there were 20 cops there is because we have seen how these protests will surround cars, will mob people. You know, we've seen this in since we were kids in school fights. If you have a mob of people, it's easy to kind of think, I'm not going to get in trouble for this. I'll just, throw my little pizzazz into you know, this brawl, this tussle. But it can become an exceedingly dangerous. So that's why there's so many police there. Just for that person that was confused in the article. The protesters looked like they were behind a barricade on the sidewalk when cops descended, witnesses said. One woman claimed that she asked an officer why the group was being arrested, and they replied, I don't even know. Another video showed what looked like at least one person being loaded into an NYPD Department of Corrections van outside the main gates. The Columbia demonstration sprung up in the early hours of Wednesday with hundreds of students protesting around almost 60 tents on the lawn outside Butler Library. Protesters waved signs and chanted to demand that the university officials divest from Israel in light of the current things going on. You know, now here's the thing that I think that we could all use. Now, I am humble enough or at least honest enough to say, look, y'all, I don't know enough about this Mesopotamia to give you even a semi-coherent hot take. I will, direct you to people that have diverse views. I could try to tell you who to talk to, but this is about like the entirety of human history of people have been fighting over this joint. Okay. But at least I'm humble enough to know that there are probably things, probably stories, probably perspectives from both sides that I don't know. These college students act like they know everything. And I understand part of that is just being a young person because when I was, young and in my early 20s, I was probably insufferable too. But as you get older, you realize the insane, distance between all the things that you should probably know and all the things you actually do know. And, It is. It is just that's the only thing that I wish these kids would realize is that there might be some things that they just don't know that your teachers, have given their hot take about, but they aren't, scholars, they aren't, experts. If you are really intellectually curious and you really want to prove your side right, then start researching. Go to various sources. Be intellectually honest and admit you don't know things. For the love of all that is Cheetos. In our next news, uh, I guess we have Anaconda Part 2. This ancient snake in India may have been longer than a school bus and weighed a ton. Hashtag reasons why I was not in charge of the ark. Because God would have been like, did you get, I sent the giant snakes to you. Oh, your lordliness, giant snakes. Let me look at my notes here. You know what? They did not answer any of my emails, so I just assumed that they weren't coming. Um, they did not get on the ark. I am so sorry, your lordliness. No giant snakes for us. Extinction is a terrible thing. I'm telling y'all what, I would not. Snakes, cicadas, and mosquitoes would have been like must-miss invitations. Which is why God in his infinite wisdom did not put me in charge of the ark, because he's like, "I know you. I made you. You're not the one." An ancient snake in India may have been longer than a school bus. It's a Horcrux. It's definitely a Horcrux. It needed to be destroyed. I don't know how many people Voldemort unalived, but this man decided that he was just gonna have all the Horcruxes. An ancient snake in India may have been longer than a school bus and weighed a ton, researchers reported Thursday. Fossils found near a coal mine revealed a snake that stretched an estimated 36 feet or 11 meters to 50 feet or 15 meters. It's comparable to the largest known snake that is about 42 feet or 13 meters that once lived in what is now Colombia. Digger, I found my people. I found my tribe. Y'all get it? Because 'cause I'd have been yeah, the snakes were I thought we figured snakes were evil. Lord, we need to figure out our stories if snakes are no longer evil. The largest living snake today is Asia's reticulated python at 33 feet or 10 meters. The newly discovered behemoth lived 47 million years ago in western India's swampy evergreen forests and would have weighed up to 2,200 pounds or 1,000 kilograms, researchers said in the Journal of Scientific Reports. For the love of all that is holy. They gave it the name of Vasuki Indictus, after the mythical snake king Vasuki, who wraps around the neck of the Hindu deity Shiva, said Debachit Datta, a study co-author at the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. This monster snake wasn't especially swift to strike. Considering its large size, Vasuki was a small, slow-moving ambush predator that would have subdued its prey through constriction. Wow, sounds like me in a relationship. Mr. Mo, we need to talk. Gee. Party foul. How dare you run out of Cheetos? Fragments of the snake's backbone were discovered in 2005 by co-author Sunli Bajapati, based at the same institute near Gujarati in Western India. Why do I pick out these articles where I'm like, and something foreign? It's a foreign word. The researchers compared more than 20 fossilized vertebrae to skeletons of living snakes to estimate the size. While it's not exactly clear what this snake ate, other fossils found nearby revealed that the snake lived in swampy areas alongside catfish, turtles, crocodiles, and primitive whales, which may have been its prey, Data said. The other extinct giant snake, Titanoboa, was discovered in Colombia and is estimated to have lived around 60 million years ago. What these two monster snakes have in common is that they live during periods of exceptionally warm global climates. All right, y'all, you may have sold me on global warming. I need none of these giant snakes. Nope, not having it. I will turn this world back around. We are not having giant snakes. I already had to deal with a mouse this morning. My cats are ridiculous. They were doing Lord knows what. They were not catching the mouse. No, they were looking at him. So I had to protect said mouse because I don't want look, my cats are they're kinda sociopaths, okay? They'll just play with and, toy with mice until they, you know, they finally go in for the unaliving. No, that I didn't get that box until this afternoon. But there you go. Uh, so yeah, I got a plastic shoe container, tongs, long gloves, and I'm over here like forcing it into that and then having you know, kind of loud sort of talk with this mouse, like, "I'm putting you outside. I am being kind to you. Do not come into my house again, and do not run towards me when I put you down, or look, true grit might be happening, okay?" These snakes are giant cold-blooded animals, he said, and a snake requires higher temperature to grow in large sizes. So, does that mean that a global warming trend will bring back monster-sized snakes? Yes. I need to know this because I swear to goodness, we will go haul the Planet Express ship. We will go haul the Express ship to go get some more ice if we're going to end up with giant snakes. I will not do it. I will just not be party to it. In theory, it's possible the climate is now warming too quickly for snakes to evolve again to be giants. I feel oddly comforted about that, and I shouldn't because if the world is actually, heating in such a terrible way and it's anthropomorphic or humans are causing it, then well, that's scary, but I'm kind of okay with the no snake. I mean, it's like a compliment sandwich. You throw something in there that's really not great, but you also have well, it's going too fast to make giant snakes, and I'm like, there always is a silver lining. I'm a terrible person. In a story that we covered a while back, we finally have some legal news with this. So, quote, "That's terrifying and some dangerous S. Roommate, girlfriend, and now charged in the fentanyl poisoning death of an 18-month-old girl." Now, I do believe that, these were these are not the same people that were in, New York, but this is happening much too often. Look, I have loved someone with a substance addiction. Please, if you are struggling with something that you're addicted to, really think about the people that you're affecting, please, because you guys were given a precious gift of a little girl. Slinky, welcome, and thank you, Free Spirit Prepping and News. Honestly, it helps me too. I was responding to someone, this is totally off topic, but I was responding to someone who I think was a new viewer and didn't know what was wrong with my leg. And when I started YouTube, this is a fairly new thing in my life to have pain, to, not feel the greatest. Trying to find my phone. I have no idea where to put it. I can hear it vibrating somewhere. Pay no attention to the Mo in the background. But just having a place to go, so a reason to get up and get dressed, well, relatively nicely in a cool Hawaiian shirt, but, do my hair. It was so nice to have something that wasn't revolving around my leg or my pain. So I totally get that, and I am glad that I can be that for you, Free Spirit Prepping and News. Thank you for being that for me on the other end. But let's get back to the news. A roommate and his girlfriend are now facing charges after being accused of supplying non-street legal pharmaceuticals to a couple accused in the death of their 18-month-old daughter killed by fentanyl poisoning in a drug-littered home in California. Phil Ortega, 31, and his girlfriend Paige Vitale. I am sorry you're struggling right now. Um I will tell you what has helped me, and off camera, you know, losing Fry has been pretty hard, but what I'm trying to get back to and what really helped my mental health at the start of the year was writing down 5 things that I'm grateful for every day. You can tend to get stuck in a negative headspace, and goodness knows I done stayed there, lived there, and ate all of my Mike and Ike feelings, okay? Done, did it. Like, just all of it. Comfort ate, all the things. But sometimes and for me it worked, and it might not work for you, but, um, writing down 5 things that I'm grateful for and making that another habit that I really get back into reminds me of all the cool things, the good things. Like I said, look, sometimes life is really dark, but there's always these bright, stars that shine through, that give you light even on the darkest night. And if you focus on those, you might not remember how you walked out of that night. You're pretty you might not even know, but eventually it lightens up and dawn comes. So that's about as close to Dr. Phil as you're gonna get with me today. But if that can help anyone, I hope it does. It certainly did help me to remember all of the good things because sometimes they can be overshadowed when you're spending a lot of mental bandwidth trying to stay out of pain or just deal with it. Phil Ortega, 31, and his girlfriend, Paige Vitale, 32, were charged in the death of baby Winter Rayo, court documents said. The suspects join Winter's parents, Derek Rayo, 27, and Kelly Richardson, 28, who were charged in November. A statement of facts obtained by Law and Crime alleges that Ortega and Vitale facilitated repeated narcotics use by both themselves and Derek Rayo and Richardson that exposed the baby to, quote, lethal concentrations of narcotics. So this is following kind of the same line as the Crumblies, and I'm not sure, this might be an interesting case to watch just for the legal kind of premise that basically you're almost going after Winchester, because I know usually people, when they do the not street legal pharmaceuticals, look a bunch older, but they both look like they're teenagers and they're in dang near 40. But this is an interesting legal premise that they are holding them responsible because they supplied the instrumentality that made this baby no longer live. So it is interesting. I don't know. I am kind of shocked that they were able to do it, but the state's going to reach, and I wonder what the defense is going to be. These are the kind of court cases that are terribly sad, but I do like to look into as a layperson because it does somewhat seem like a reach. There are still dingussy people, and I hope they get help with their addictions and really want to make that right step forward to change their lives. I mean, judging by the look on his face, probably not, but, you know, it is. It is an interesting premise that you are going to try to get these people who were in fact the suppliers. Is this going to set a precedent where, you know, they're going to start going after dealers more? Are they going to go after suppliers more? I don't know. Messages show that suspect Ortega consistently supplied Derek Rayo and Kelly Richardson with fentanyl between November 2022 and the death of victim W. Doe. Court documents said Ortega, who authorities said was an admitted opiate addict with a history of drug-related crimes dating back to 2015, left drugs around the house and sold Richardson drugs, even though he knew she was acting recklessly around her daughter with them. Okay, y'all, like a street pharmacist is going to be like, you know, I'm sorry. I can no longer sell you this 8 ball because I done noticed you were buying generic cereal for your kid. I mean, I if the law is there, but I somehow don't see many, street pharmacists being very upset about whatever it is that their clients do as long as they pay them. But maybe there's good ones around that, like, limit people and wean them off. I don't know. Vitale said she felt Derek Rayo and Richardson were reckless in their parenting of the victim, court documents said. Oh, yes. Let this street pharmacist explain to you how you're a bad parent. This is slinky. That is what I'm worried about. Is this more reach? Is this the Crumblies worked and so they're going to do it? But Jess Rubery said that some states have passed laws to make dealers responsible for deaths. So if California passed a law to punish a criminal, I mean, it could happen. I don't know. She allegedly discussed practices that concerned her, such as smoking narcotics around baby named W. Doe in court documents or failing to wash hands around W. Doe after using narcotics. That's terrifying and some dangerous ish, she allegedly said. According to statements of fact, suspect Vitali even stated she had brought up her concerns about Derek Rayo and Kelly Richardson's use of certain substances. Ortega and Vitali also assumed roles as the baby's caretakers, even though there were narcotic activities in their house, authorities allege. Paige Vitali and Philip Ortega knew that there were substances that were dangerous to human life, as evident by their statements and past experience, the document said. Despite this knowledge, they affirmatively took actions which would naturally and probably result in W. Doe's exposure to these substances. That exposure resulted in the death of W. Doe, an 18-month-old toddler. The case came to light on August 12th when Derek Rayo called 911 at 11:07 p.m. to report his daughter was unconscious and not breathing on his bed, authorities said. He told dispatch he did not know what happened and that he and Richardson were alone in their home with their daughter, court documents said. San Jose Fire and Emergency Medical Services responded to the home in San Jose. And let me say to all of the first responders that have to go into these situations, that have to see these, poor children that their parents didn't take care of, or these poor elderly people that their children didn't take care of, or just these heinous things. Thank you so much for your service. I can imagine the mental toll it takes on you to see some of the worst and best in humanity, and you could see it all in the same 8-hour shift or 12-hour shift. I don't know how shifts work. Uh, let's see. San Jose Fire and Medical Services responded to the home in San Jose, about 50 miles south of San Francisco, and found the baby lying on a bed covered with a rug. She was She was not savable and was declared dead 10 minutes after the father had called 911, but she had been passed away for hours and showed signs of full rigor mortis. She had dilated pupils, blue lips, the court documents said. All right, I know dingus parents are not going to probably be watching, but should you happen to be scrolling through and you are a dingus parent, there are ways to figure out when people happen to pass away. There are general rules of thumb. There are, rigor mortis usually sets in at certain amount of times. For the love of all that is holy, stop calling 18 hours after your child has passed away. Call right then. Call when you might be able to get them some help. You're still going to be screwed, but at least your child might live. Just lower than corrotated trash water. The In an interview with investigators, Derek Rayo allegedly admitted to being a heavy user of substances, and he detailed the baby's last hours. He allegedly said at one point he woke up and saw his daughter was not conscious or breathing. He also admitted to not calling the police because, quote, he knew he had warrants. Just a boil on the butthole of humanity that must be lanced for the good of all. And because he wanted to grieve with Kelly Richardson, but knew that he and Kelly Richardson would be separated once the police arrived, court documents said. He said he believed he had fallen asleep on top of his daughter or possibly rolled over on her. Richardson allegedly told authorities she had gone to work and left her daughter in her father's care with their roommates at home. She allegedly said she put her daughter to bed between 1 and 2 a.m. and went to sleep. When she woke her daughter up at 10:30, she did not notice anything wrong with her daughter before falling back to sleep, she allegedly said. When she woke up again at 11 a.m. and noon, she noticed Derek on top of the victim and nudged him so he would get off of her. Court documents. uh, She woke up at the crack of 11? For the love of all that is holy. Derek Rayo tried CPR, adding she did not think it was effective. She allegedly told investigators, according to court documents. She also allegedly told the police that her boyfriend thought he had a warrant and was scared because he did not want to be arrested. Upon realizing victim W. Doe had died, Derek Rayo and Kelly Richardson did not call the police for approximately 12 hours. And thank you for becoming a member. I'm hearing my phone, I just can't figure out where I've this is what happens when you're running around like a crazy person and you're like, "I'll just put this here, here, and here." Oh, I found it. There we go. I'm a dingus. Worry not, for I am a hot mess express. And thank you, Free Spirit Press News, for becoming a member. So they just had everything just strewn all about. Look, I get it. I was a young parent. I was, I think, 21 and a couple months when I had my first child. And then I realized very scarily that they were going to let me out of the hospital unsupervised with said child, and I was supposed to be the adult. And I was like, "Oh, well, maybe I should have started with a fish." I have a lovely oldest daughter. She is, smart and tall, and she's a unicorn because she's got tall, long legs and blonde hair. And she's just great kid, but, I mean, when they first let you out at the hospital and it's all about you're all by yourself, you're like, "Okay, kid, well, I'm gonna try not to screw you up, you try not to screw me up, and we'll both make it out of this just alive." So I understand how stressful it can be to be a new parent. There are no instruction books, but when you have that baby, when you have your first child, when you gain custody of your first child, maybe because your family member's struggling, it becomes about that child. My life, I mean, I now have mornings with Mo and nightly Newsy News, but my life basically revolves around my kids, and that's okay. It is it is absolutely okay to have, things separate from your kids, but it's the natural way of life. You just become someone's mom, and it's perfectly normal and healthy to have things that are just for you, but that is your job. That is what, the universe, God, or the giant floating spaghetti monster, whichever you choose to believe in, I won't tell you how to do it, but that's you were given a giant gift. And kids are a great big responsibility, but it's also so awesome to watch them grow up, to watch them change. You're basically given this lumpy potato that sits there, and you're like, "Gosh, I wonder who you'll be. I wonder who you'll grow up to be. Will you be sassy and a bit, sarcastic like me? Will you be quiet? Will you be a good singer?" I mean, all of these years are just like opening a new box of surprises as you get to see them happen. So, if you are struggling with addiction, please get help. There is recovery. I'm not telling you it's gonna be easy, but there are so many things that are worth it. In our next news story, well, I guess they can go for new gifts. A British couple's divorce was finalized by a clerk error. An estranged British couple found their 21-year marriage unexpectedly ended when a law firm's clerical error finalized their divorce. The couple, identified only as Mr. and Mrs. Williams, separated in 2023 and were in the process of working out the financial details of their marriage's impending end when they accidentally became divorced as a result of a mistake by the wife's representatives at a London law firm, Vardags. The firm, headed by self-proclaimed quote unquote diva of divorce, Ashada Vardag, explained the couple's divorce was a result of a clerical error. Well, I mean, you get a divorce and you get a divorce, and how would you like to be annulled? Oh, for the love of all that is Cheetos. Vardag said that the lawyers were working on another client's divorce when they opened the Williams file by mistake and applied for a final divorce order. Lawyers discovered the mistake 2 days later, and Vardags asked the High Court to nullify the Williams divorce, but Andrew McFarland, the president of Family Division, rejected the appeal. Quote, "There's strong public policy interest in respecting the certainty and finality that flows from a final divorce order and maintaining the status quo that it has established," the judge said in his decision. Vardag said she strongly disagrees with McFarland's decision. Quote, "The courts shouldn't change people's marital status based on a slip on an online portal. Whether the person makes the slip themselves or their lawyer does, it goes against the principle of intention, which suffuses our law," she told the Law Society Gazette. Julian Ribbit, whose firm Ribbit Miles represents Mr. Williams, supported the judge decision. Welcome, JKD Buck. Quote, "The wife's solicitor hoped that the order would be treated as an administrative error and deemed to have never existed," Ribbit said. Oh gosh, can you I hope he doesn't look like a frog. Can you imagine that last name and you have the pouchy face and the eyes? That would be terrible. Sir, Mr. Julian Ribbit, female or male, look, it is the year 2024. I'm not even assuming. But, I hope you don't look like a frog. Or if you do embrace it, I hope you have a lot of little Pepe memes all around your this is what goes on in my brain. Y'all wonder why I skip over subjects because I, in my headcanon, now have him just full office full of stuffed Pepes just everywhere. We objected on the basis that the divorce had been properly applied for and was therefore effective, notwithstanding the fact that the wife's solicitors had, in fact, applied on behalf of the wrong client. So there you go. Apparently, in Britain, if you click the wrong button, you done been divorced. So no fat fingering, no butterfingers on that marriage certificate, redo. Although it does sound I don't understand why this is big news. It does sound like they were just moving toward divorce and maybe wife was, dragging her heels, but, you know, I hope it all works out in the end. In what in the actual hell is going on with mothers? I need to know. I did not know that we had the option of just going on vacation and leaving our children full Kevin from Home Alone style as an option. I had no idea. Daggone ridiculousness. A Texas mom left young children 6 and 8 at home alone for nearly a week while she vacationed on a cruise, cops say. Now, what were you thinking? I'm guessing you weren't, but here is our lovely mother, our lovely incubator here. A Texas mother who was arrested after she allegedly abandoned her 2 young children to go on a cruise, leaving the children home alone for nearly a week, officials said. Lakeisha Woods William, 29, was hit with 2 charges of child endangerment last Thursday after officers found her 8-year-old and 6-year-old alone in their high-rise apartment complex in Houston with no supervision, according to Harris County Constable Precinct 5. Williams left her kids to take a solo vacation on April 4th and returned the night of April the 10th. She was arrested the following day. Well, I'm glad you got your lashes done for your prison mugshot, ma'am. Looks very festive. Concerned neighbors called emergency responders after worrying about the siblings' welfare, according to the constable. Neighbors saw Williams leaving the building with luggage on April 4th and noticed she failed to come home after several days. No, I would have seen her take the luggage, seen her not take her kids, and be a whole lot confused. And since I am that neighbor and I go out and I'm just a bit goofy with it, but I'm like, "Sweetie, hi. I don't mean to be a nosy noserton, and you can tell me to mind my own, but are you taking your children with you? Do you have someone to watch them?" Now, knowing my luck, because I am the person I am, I would end up babysitting said children, but at least they would be safe. Deputies visited the apartment on April 9th and found the 2 kids alone in the apartment that was trashed with garbage food all over the floor and the smell of urine, documents state. The place was in complete disarray, deputies said. The children said their mother had left to go on a cruise and was communicating with them through a camera in the apartment and via text messages to the 8-year-old. Well, I'm glad she has a Ring camera so she can, watch her kids while she's out on vacation. Ma'am, let me explain something to you as a mama, okay? Do you wanna know the first time I had a kid-free vacation? A fully kid-free vacation, but when I had kids. 17 years. 17 years, because I have always had my kids with me, and that's my job, and I take it. That's what I was, I signed up for, having children. But, some days it felt like that chick from the Titanic. It's been 84 years. For the love of all that is holy, ma'am, I don't get this. You are a mom first. Everything comes out second. If you need a break, there are people, there are places, you can reach out, but you're not going to get a whole week just for your mental health or whatever, ma'am. Annoying the ever living snot out of me. The kids were checked by paramedics as well as Child Protective Services. They were removed from the apartment and now are in the care of their aunt. Oh, so wait, there were relatives that you could call? You are not alone by yourself in this void of peopleness? You could have called someone to watch your children since you wanted to take a cruise? Ma'am. Welcome, Katie Powers. Neighbors told deputies this was not the first time that they had been left alone with no adults. Quote, "We are still putting together facts and circumstances of how these children were left alone for several days," Constable Ted Heap said. "But the important thing is they're safe now, and those responsible should be held accountable for leaving these kids in an unsafe situation." Amen. Williams was booked into the Harris County Jail on a $40,000 bond, according to jail records. She is set to be in court on Monday. Ma'am, you went to Bali and you're going to be done. In our final story, oh, for the love of 353 ballerinas stay on their toes to break the world record in New York City. Look at all those. I want a tutu. I probably look a bit more like Fantasia at the moment than, although I will say that those hippos in Fantasia were darn graceful and divas. So if I am compared to them, they could dance and they had rhythm. So I am happy to be one of the Fantasia hippos. New York's famous Plaza Hotel hosted a Guinness World Record-breaking event featuring 353 ballerinas on point at the same time. The nonprofit Youth America Grand Prix, which organizes competition for young dancers, celebrated its 25th anniversary by gathering the white tutu-clad ballerinas at the hotel and having them all go on point, a ballet term for dancing on their toes for a full minute. The attempt Wednesday took the record for the most ballet dancers on points simultaneously from a 2019 event that featured 309 dancers, including talk show host Kelly Ripa. The big whys of the big why of why we're doing it is to really let the world know that dance is a healing force. Sergey Gordiev, director of external affairs at YAGP, told Gothamist, "Dance is a power that brings us connection at a time when we're so disconnected." Let me see if I can play this. You won't be able to hear this, but you should be. Let me get to the ballerina parts. I don't want the talking head parts. Oh, aw, why aren't we seeing their I I can't believe I'm saying this line as I'm speaking it, but why aren't we seeing their feet? Y'all know I have a deep distrust of feet, but, there is something. Look, even as a rhythmically challenged person, when I get to dance or, maybe sway a little bit to my favorite music, it does feel. Look, and if it's certain music, if it's Rush, you know, you can feel a whole lot empowered, or you can listen to some Five Finger Death Punch, and get all your mad out. But there is something healing if you are not good at it. There is something really nice about just the movement of dance. And it's nice to see so many kids enjoy themselves. Goodness knows I started out clumsy and never really grew into my athletic prowess, but, I did manage to give birth to a child who does all the sports. She's currently at a track meet. So, I think it just skipped a generation like the Beatus. That's what I told my mom, and she thought that was not a funny joke. She's like, "Some people really suffer with diabetes, Mo." And I was like, "Yes, it's dark, but it's still funny because 'cause I'm a klutz and you're super athletic and my father is super athletic, and then you went on to create me who can't walk in a straight line, but my daughter." Kids are amazing and they are fun, and I am going to be sending you all to Shizzy. We are going to be watching, I think, police body cams, and I am going to take a quick bio break and then I will be there. And from Squaw Bop, because she is amazing, on this day, April 18th, 1956, Prince Rainier III of Monaco married Grace Kelly. Afterwards, the guest drank special coffee. Thank you, Squaw Pop. That's a great way to relate it. I was like, "Oh, she always has these really interesting facts." Have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow is Friday. I picked up the most fabulous pair of earrings, uh, from the Aldi's just to bother Baker because 'cause he'll be like, "It's Aldi," and there's no "the," and there's no S. And I'm like, "Sir, you have not been to the Midwest. It's the Aldis, the Krogers, the Myers, and Rev in the Book of Revelations. We all realize that there is no there's no S's on the end of them, but it's just it happens. It is a language Creole. You're just gonna have to get used to it. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you guys over at Shizzy's. Bye, guys."